to start by saying thank you to everybody for coming and it's helped so far. We are very excited to share this information with you today. Just to encourage you, many of you, all of you hopefully use this product. Many of you face sort of the struggle sometimes in sharing it so passionately. And what I can tell you is just spending this week with Alyson, preparing to give this speech to you all, we just feel a renewed sense of knowledge and power and passion to, you guys, 80% of being healthy is nutrition. This is our #1 tool that we need to be shouting from the rooftops to help people be healthy from the inside out. So hopefully after this talk, you'll feel that same passion and just a little more power and motivation to share it. And I just want to, first of all, thank Alyson. For those of you that don't know, Alyson and I are, well, we've been friends since forever.
Well, she beat me in track for like 4 years. That's how I knew her. We were at different schools.
But that's funny because I would say that I've been following Alyson forever. We went to the same college, we went to PT school. I'd say she's the best PT I know. I've followed her from career to career, and she is my person. She sponsored me into this business, and so she is my success partner, the person I look up to. Surround yourself, you guys, with people that lift you up. Alyson is that person for me. That's what this is about. You need people in your life that lift you up and help you be better. And so she's the guru, I'm her student, and we're just going to share a little bit about what we've learned about Shakeology. We're calling it Shakeology 2.0. Okay? So we're taking control of your health and how you can share this valuable tool, the healthiest meal of your day. Basically, to summarize what we're going to talk about, we hope that you understand we're going to share the key superfood ingredients found in Shakeology. You don't have to know it all, but you should know a few things. We want to advance your knowledge to Shakeology 2.0, and that this is not just a protein shake, which is a very common misconception or term that's thrown around. And then we're going to break down into kind of 5 common, maybe controversial, or areas that we want to dive into further. Protein types. Why is there sugar in Shakeology? Is it gluten-free, and non-GMO, or organic? Is it a whole food or processed food? And how to share value.
Have you guys ever had this question test?
Yeah. Right?
They're hard, right? These are the hard questions. So this is what we're focusing on. And it did take a lot of research, different than even the groups we've done before, because before it's like, okay, what's in it? What does, ashwagandha do for you? Those are the basics. We can all look those up. But these are hard questions, and you go to YouTube and you try to go to different resources, and you never get a clear answer on a lot of these. So our goal is that you're clear on these, and when people ask you, it just rolls off your tongue. Okay?
Okay, good. So let's just start with, if you didn't notice that already, our hashtag is Take Control, because we're taking control of our lives, our nutrition, our fitness, and now your knowledge on Shakeology. Why do we need superfoods on a daily basis in our life? These are the 3 things that you can share with people who ask you about why you drink your shake. Because the superfoods found in Shakeology boost your immune system, decrease internal inflammation. And I just want to take a moment to kind of clarify that. It's not, the inflammation that we're talking about here is not necessarily a swollen ankle or knee. It is internal inflammation in your arteries, in your gut, in your system that you can't see that is actually more harmful. This is what the superfoods in Shakeology help with. Immune system, internal inflammation, and gut health. And that's not a pretty word, but that is, your gut is the gateway to your body, and the more you study it, the more passionate you become, that you need these superfoods to increase the absorption of the foods you are taking in, soak up the nutrients, and become more regular and have better digestion. Inflammation, immune system, digestion.
How many people talk to their challengers about their gut and if they have poops to be proud of? Like, do you ever talk about that? because, I mean, why are we spending $4 a day to put this, Carl, my 5-star Ruby's raising his hand. But, you know, why are we spending the money and putting this in our body? We cannot see it right off the bat on the inside. But you got to look at that, right? Because that's a sign to tell you how your organs are working inside. And through all of this research that I've done, and I used to be a PT nerd, and now I'm kind of a nutrition nerd. Amy went to PT school with us, yeah. And I still love fitness and PT, but the nutrition is becoming my passion. And it's amazing to me, partly because, and I think Jen is doing the same thing with our patients, we both work part-time with patients, I can't help somebody physically get better if this is a mess. Because they have so much inflammation going on inside their gut that pain that they have in their shoulder or in their tendons, and they can't get it away with all those damn NSAIDs that they're taking, and more ibuprofen and more Advil, and I had to send them back to the doctor to get better. All those drugs are just tearing our guts apart even more. So it was killing me after 17 years that I can't just put my hands on somebody or give them an exercise and get them better. And it has helped us become better PTs too. But you have to think about that with your challengers. You have to ask questions to them. You find their pain point, and then you make a recommendation. Don't feel bad for asking them to spend $4 a day. They're going to spend $7 on a salad at Chick-fil-A, right? They're going to spend, I mean, where can you go and get a decent, healthy salad? This has more nutritional value than one salad does that doesn't have any sodium added, right? So we want you to feel confident about why you're doing this, because you're trying to heal. You're trying to heal them, because they cannot lose weight if they have inflammation in their gut. You know, if those people that are stuck and they've tried everything, they're inflamed. And they have toxins in their fat, and they cannot release them because they have too much going on right here.
Yep, we've got more to come on all of those topics for sure. So start with the simple knowledge and then dive in and continue to learn. That's your charge, that's your job as a coach, is to understand these products. Very simply, the antioxidants and superfoods that you will find in Shakeology, these are your vitamins. These are the vitamins that you no longer have to take all of when you do take Shakeology. Your antioxidants and superfoods protect the body from free radicals, which are everywhere in our country, in our world, prevents cell damage, promotes cardiovascular health, and prevents degenerative diseases. You know, goji berries, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of these things that you'll see on here, and we'll talk about this later too, before I drank Shakeology, I told Alyson for months, I make my own shake. And I put all of this stuff in it.
How often do you hear that?
I make my own shake, right? So just, you know, knowing some of these words that you'll hear people say, oh, that's in my shake too. So these are your antioxidants and superfoods. Phytonutrients, that's your colorful green leafy stuff. That, like moringa and spirulina, you'll hear people talk about that, promotes an alkaline state in your body. Alyson will talk more about that. Promotes healthy aging, detoxifying the body, and vitality, like moringa, okay? Adaptogen herbs. So this is, what you need to know about these, they are grown in places of the world in very harsh conditions. So they must adapt to be strong. And so when you take them, you are helping your body, you're promoting your immune system, you're protecting the body from environmental stress. Anybody have that in their life? Cognitive function, calmness, and energy. Though I like all of those words. I don't know about you. Maca root is a good one. Hormone balance, thyroid health. Many of the people, you guys, that we have to serve and help have issues with their thyroid. Energy, stress, mental clarity. All good reasons to take these adaptogen herbs. Ashwagandha, right?
Yeah. And going back to a couple people that we follow, if you don't follow them, you want to get on their Facebook pages, you want to look at their YouTubes. Darren Oline, obviously, he was in the other video. He's the creator of Shakeology, but he has a great page called Super Life, and he has a great book called Super Life. You want to learn about water and all the forces that make us have a super life. And he talks about, you don't think about this, but environmental stress is Wi-Fi signals. And all this crap that people didn't have 40 years ago. You know, we are living in this environment that's really toxic to us. So it's not just what we're eating and putting in our body. Adaptogens help us with that kind of stress too.
Good point. Very good. Okay, the next few important ingredients to know are in your shake are prebiotics and probiotics. Prebiotics are the food for the probiotics. They feed the good bacteria in your gut. The important part about this is that these prebiotics, like yucca root, they are non-digestible fiber. So what that means is they get to where they're going in the gut, and they actually help to aid in weight loss, lower cholesterol. They get where they're supposed to go. Probiotics, kind of a big thing right now. You'll hear people saying, or they take them over the counter. I would ask them to look at the label and see what else is in their probiotic that they're buying over the counter. Probiotics are strains of good bacteria that's been like obliterated by antibiotics in our country. They help the digestive process, so you actually digest the nutrients that you take in, absorb the minerals and vitamins. Overall balance of the digestive tract, and again, supports the immune system. One of the most, these are the two most common finds you'll find in shakes in general. I don't know, Bacillus coagulans, and I'm not going to pronounce it. Lactobacillus. Number one is the one that's in our shake.
Stick with one.
So remember number one if you're taking notes. Bacillus coagulans is in Shakeology. It's all about the health of your gut. For real, it's all about everything comes back to the gut.
And I do want to add, probiotics are very tricky and they're very new in the research. So if you go and you try to look, like when we did a shake group in February, I tried to relook at probiotics. There's answers all over the board. Even like I follow a lot of functional medicine doctors, Dr. Hyman, Dr. Peter Osborne. They're all a little bit different on what they'll recommend. But just know that if somebody is telling you they have IBS or they have joint pain, and they're not taking a probiotic, this is a really good start. They might have to add a probiotic. And that again comes back to knowing the products that we had. I'll talk about the Reset in a little bit, but we have a great probiotic that's called Soothe. I'm pretty sure it's called Soothe. It was one of the supplements I had to take on the Reset. So if you know somebody that needs it, especially if they're a coach and they'll get the discount because they're not cheap, we have a great quality probiotic that you can add to this if they're still having issues. Okay?
Okay. And finally, digestive enzymes. These are present in Shakeology. These are the little guys that are going to actually help you digest what you eat, so that the food that you take in, you actually do break down. So there's a few helpful ones that are in ours. Let's see what.
Anybody take a digestive enzyme? Anybody hear of it like a pill separately? Okay, Christine. Yeah, so there's not, Dr. Axe, if you follow him, almost anybody that functional medicine doctor says after the age of 35, we really lose our ability to digest proteins especially. So each of those, protease will break down protein, lipase breaks down fats, lactase breaks down lactose. You kind of have to figure out what you're not breaking down right. But that's when you go back to looking at your, you gotta look. You gotta see, okay, I just ate that, and, it didn't digest so well. That's how you know. Okay? Don't be scared to talk about it.
Okay.
I didn't say I wanted to look at yours. I'm not going that far.
So this comes down again, you guys, to just keeping it simple. And it's when you're sharing this, it's easy because you're learning all this stuff to want to give everybody all the information at once, but you want to ask questions and answer with what you need to answer. Very simply, oftentimes I will just say, you know what, I'm a wife and a mom with 4 kids, and this is simple, so this is what I do. And it makes me feel better and have more energy. But I also know it does these 3 things. It doesn't have anything artificial, flavor or sweeteners. There's no soy in it, which is important to me and our family, or carrageenan, which is a harmful filler. So even just having a few phrases that you say is helpful to kind of make you feel more confident in sharing. Now we are ready to take your knowledge up to Shakeology 2.0. We're going to talk about these 5 areas like we talked about, and I'm going to let Alyson take over now with protein.
Yeah, and I think it depends on what team you're on and what your team focuses on. They might be more focused on fitness. They might be more on nutrition. But if getting people results is 80% nutrition, where do you think you need to focus? You know, to make this business work, you have to focus here. So you can't use that excuse, really, that you don't have time to learn it. You have to take time to learn it. You know, in our new coach camp, we have something called Pursuing Knowledge. And every week, our new coach camp members are putting in there what they're pursuing. It doesn't have to be into our academy or something about the business. This is pursuing knowledge. This is gonna help your business. You're not gonna go sell a product for a company. You know, what do those people do that have to sell? You know, they go into doctor's offices and they tell them what kind of implant they're putting in for surgery. They take 8 weeks of training to do that. You know, we're our own bosses. We're our own entrepreneurs. We have to take time to do this, okay? So all that stuff that we went over, that Jen just went over, it does take a little while to learn. Now that's a little bit easier to us and our team because we go over a lot. We do a lot of free groups together on it. We have a list, a grid that is going to be in our group for this.
Like your Super Saturday group, you'll all be encouraged to.
So you're going to add everybody that came today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So look for that in your Facebook groups and go into the files section. And a lot of you might already have it. Anybody have that green and black chart that goes over everything we just did with what's in the shakes on one page? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So everything we just talked about is on one page. And if you know that, that's going to be easy. So that's the basics of where you start. Okay. This stuff is a little bit harder. I think we can probably upload our PowerPoint too, right? Okay.
Yep.
So we'll upload, back one, honey. We'll
me.
upload our PowerPoint. So if somebody asked you about the questions that we talked about today that we're going to go over, then you can use that for research. Okay. Because I don't know, I'm the type of person, I don't learn it the first time, sometimes not the second. I got to go back the third and the fourth. So I want you to know where you can find all this. Okay. All right. This is something I used to focus on a lot, and we've done in the past couple free groups. But at this point, there's so much controversy on what kind of whey protein is better for you. It's just the jury's still out, is what I have to say. Jen's working with the chiropractor who kind of went against what we were saying, and I'll go over that. It was for one reason. You can't really just pick one reason. You have to look at the whole picture, okay? What we used to promote when, again, we did our research, and I try to go outside of Beachbody, outside of Darren, although he's he's God to me. But, just kidding. My Shakeology God. I went to, again, like Dr. Hyman and the functional medicine doctors that are pretty popular. And what we found was whey isolates. And again, I just tried to differentiate them there. A lot of the fat and lactose is removed. So remember in the video you saw Darren, you saw Isabella. Isabella is Carl Deichler's wife. She helped make the shake. She's a vegan. So she only wanted to make vegan initially when Shakeology came out. But they knew they didn't have the flavoring down yet. Like, it has to taste good or people aren't going to buy it, right? That's why there is still a little bit of sugar in there. So what they did was they found a way to process it. And yes, regular Shakeology will call a little bit more of a processed version because they have to take the whey into an isolate form so you can get the fat and the lactose out. Now, I'm all for fat, so I'm still kind of learning about that, healthy fats. But the lactose is a good thing to try to remove because so many people are going to tell you the first couple days they take the shake, and you have to know what to say. Their stomach didn't tolerate it. It's not usually because of the lactose. What you want to tell them is to start with a half a scoop if that happens. They got to go a good 5 days with it to see how their digestion is, coming along. It might be the probiotics because the good and the bad bacteria are, duking it out. So it could be a lot of different things. But in whey, you're going to have, and this is what you want to know, you're still going to have a little bit of lactose even though we use an isolate form, okay? If you look at concentrate, I mean, most of our people are trying to lose weight, right? So we probably don't want to give something that a bodybuilder is taking. That's kind of how I look at it. So that's the other reason where isolate seems like the better choice to me. Also, the protein content after they take the fat and the lactose out is higher. So it's 90% protein. Concentrate is between 29 and 89%, and that has to do with the processing of it. So again, to me, in the research and what we studied, it's a little bit better, okay? And then we'll go over this in the next slide. This is in the regular. Okay, this is so it's whey protein isolate. It still has pea, chia, quinoa, flax, and sachi and chia. Now, going back to Isabella Decker, she's a vegan, but she can tolerate regular. And I know some vegans that take our regular whey-based Shakeology and not vegan. The vegan protein blend also includes pea, rice, oat protein, and it takes out the whey and the sachi and chia, because remember, if you're a vegan, you don't want anything dairy-based or meat-based, right? And that's whey. Yeah, it's coming from, a non-vegan source, basically. Okay, and protein's important. Why? Not because we need a ton of it, but because it's going to help us and our customers on their weight loss journey, because we're trying to get more lean muscle mass, and we're trying to curb cravings. Okay, any questions about that? That's just kind of like the basics, just to know when we're talking about whey. Okay, honey, you can switch it. All right, protein sources. This is pretty much the whole first part there. We already went over what that is. But we're going to talk about vegan, and it was kind of just ironic, because we didn't get that video till Thursday, but I'm going to talk a lot about vegan today. More because I've been studying more on alkaline diets and different things like that. And what was interesting, when we did a free group in February, we did a little poll, what kind of protein shakes people were taking, because it was a free group, so people weren't all on Shakeology. 60 to 70% of people were on vegan, and I'm thinking, I don't know that many vegans. Why are so many people choosing a vegan protein shake? So anybody, who takes vegan in here, and why do you like it better?
I love the taste of the vegan better.
Which is funny, because it's a little bit chalkier, right?
I didn't like the regular chocolate. I like the vegan chocolate.
Yeah,
and
maybe because it's a little sweeter.
Yet, but I just love it. Sorry.
What other reasons for vegan?
It's easier on my stomach.
Okay, so maybe the lactose issue. Do you have any lactose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna, the whey, a lot of people, this cheese and milk, lumps
Yes.
and lump and.
And see, the controversy with whey is it is one of the best protein sources you can get. It's complete, right? A lot of the other shakes we compared that were vegan did not have all of the essential amino acids. That's very hard for a vegan to get on a daily basis, because they're not eating whey or a lot of the meat proteins. So that's the hard part. But at the same time, people are noticing how they're feeling. And again, it's just, sometimes I'm not sure with the regular if people aren't staying on it long enough, because they say that so much of the lactose is removed. But, there is still some in there. So that was eye-opening to me. Yeah.
Just one more reason for vegan. We have a lot of autoimmune issues in my family, which we attribute to a gene, MTHFR.
Yeah.
And I don't like the fortified vitamins.
Okay.
I just choose not to do fortified vitamins.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Cool.
For that reason.
Yep. And I've been studying a lot about the autoimmune diseases. Yeah, and it does go back to that. Cool. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay. Yeah, and just other things to know, and again, you'll have access to this. There is agave and yakin root in the vegan shakes. And why do you want to replace animal with plants, maintain a healthy weight, have fewer digestive issues, and feel lighter and more energetic? Okay? All right, now, Jen was like, are you sure you want to go over this? It's going to get a little long.
What you're talking about.
I'm keeping it short. Keeping it short. Who knows about alkalinity and alkaline diets? Anybody? Study a little bit, Christine? Not too much? Okay. All right. I did. Yes. All right. I think this is going to come out a lot more. And I pretty much spent my week with Shay Stanford. If any of you know her. If not, I have a whole list of videos that is in the group of YouTube videos. They are addicting. Well, I am a nutrition geek, but they might be addicting to you too, okay, if you want to learn about this, especially the autoimmunity stuff. She is so interesting to listen to. She's one of a 15-star coach, but she was a pharmaceutical salesperson.
For diabetes.
Yeah, for diabetes meds.
Yep.
And just got sick of not having a relationship with people, giving drugs to doctors. She wanted to help people get to the root of the problem. Again, healing the gut. Giving diabetics medicine, like type 2 diabetics, is not going to heal you. This is going to heal you and get you off. I've had plenty of customers get off insulin, and it's like the best feeling because they lost the weight and they bring their blood sugars down. But going back to just what's an alkaline diet, I just did the reset, the ultimate reset. Highly recommend it. It seems crazy. You can't have coffee for 21 days. Some of you that would be easy. And you can't have wine and, you know, all the good stuff. But the recipes are amazing. And we still make them. My husband is the chef back there. If you're on my Facebook, you know, he's the cook in our house. But they're just, the recipes are, you don't even feel deprived because they're so good. And Wendy did the reset with me. Don't you agree?
Yes, very good.
It's just a life-changing thing to do. It is, I didn't even know I was just basically going on an alkaline diet. So alkaline just means cancer, diseases cannot thrive in an environment that has a higher alkalinity, right? So if you go back to science, there's a 0, there's a neutral, which is 7, and there's a 14 up here, okay? Anybody remember those numbers? Okay, so you want to be closer. You want to be actually pretty neutral, but you want to be more on the alkaline side, between the 7 and the 14, okay? If you're closer to the acidic side, what foods are acidic? The SAD diet. Anybody know what the SAD diet is? Standard American diet, okay? That's an acidic diet. Processed foods, drive-thrus, fried foods, meat, and dairy. So I think I eat red meat every single day, my whole life. I mean, I just grew up on meat and potatoes. Now we try to limit, and again, I go to different sources. I really love Dr. Hyman and what he's doing. He says he was a vegan before. He switched. He's 3 times a week red meat. That's his rule. So I don't think we need to take it out. It's a really good source. But what does it do? It still makes us more acidic, okay? So the way that you become more alkaline is a lot more fruits and veggies. So when I have people on 21-day fix, I say you eat as many greens as you want. You don't care if you have 8 containers. You know, I try to shoot for 10 a day, which is pretty hard to get. You'll be throwing a lot of kale in your shake, you know. Sneak it in as much as you can. But that's how you get more alkaline. That's how cancer cells cannot survive. And so if you hear about people that get cancer and then they go on a diet, they're going on an alkaline diet, okay? So what I love is that we have a company that's up on all this. We're selling products, we're representing very high quality products. And that's why I'm telling you to follow these people. Follow Isabella Deichler, follow Darren O'Leary, follow Shay Stanford. They're amazing. And anytime I try to cross-reference what they're saying, it's usually pretty much right on. Pretty much said all that, I think. Whey powder. Okay, so this is if you get this question, because this is what Jen's chiropractor, she's going to do a talk there, and we sent him the stuff on why we use whey isolate, and he said whey isolate is more acidic, and it's mildly acidic. So what you have to tell your people if they ask anything about an alkalinity diet or like a whole food type diet, right? The Whole 30. A lot of people want to do Whole 30, and they don't want to do this shake because it's not a Whole 30 approved. Make sure that they're adding some vegetables in, like add a kale or a spinach, because now you're going to make it more alkaline. And do not ever add dairy, right? Don't let them put milk in their shake. I won't let anyone put milk in their shake. I pretty much try to get them to stay away from that. Almond milk is actually alkaline. Okay, so that's a good thing, right? Because I think a lot of people are mixing their shakes with almond milk. All right, honey, you can switch it. See, that wasn't that bad, was it? Oh!
I'm the honey.
Okay, honey, switch it.
She's not gonna be as nice now. She's like, next.
I should have noticed that. But yeah.
So when you say that now the vegan shake is different because it doesn't have the whey?
We're going to go into that.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, vegan does not have whey or sachi, which I think has, I'm not quite sure what sachi is, but they took that out because they replaced it with just vegan sources.
Hey, Alison, one more question. You said almond milk is alkaline. What
Yes.
about cashew? Same?
That wasn't mentioned where she was talking about it, but I would think it would because nuts are alkaline. Yeah. And there is a website, write this down because I don't have it on our links. Acid Alkaline Diet. I think it's www. I don't know, Google it. That might not be the right website. Acid Alkaline Diet, and they have a list on there of different alkalinities of food. right? So in general, I just gave you the general guidelines. Fruits, vegetables, definitely vegetables, more than fruits even. And then we know what's not alkaline. Okay. So
I
we
wanted
will
to talk
get,
about
which one are we on? Go back
wanted
to the soy real quick. So this is the last part of, well, you know what? I guess we'll talk about the vegan here. That's the best place to talk about it. Okay, so when I was listening to a lot of Shay's videos, I didn't realize, well, she's a holistic health coach, so she has a lot of different certifications. And it was just interesting for me, because I've been struggling with, how to incorporate this in when people give me objections with Shakeology. She pretty much recommends everybody start with vegan. Good timing, right? We have 2 new vegan flavors. But that's kind of what we came up with the last couple weeks. We're just a little bit safer adding in vegan because we're taking it every day. And if we want to be more on that alkaline level, and again, with an alkaline diet, you can have up to 30% that's not real high in alkalinity foods, so you still can do it that way. But there are just benefits to it. Now, you were mentioning about the vitamins. I just learned that this week, and I've been studying Shakeology for a couple of years. Shay used the word synthetic, and what she just described, I wish I had 2 bags of Shakeology. If you look at the back of your bag, you'll notice that in vegan blends, there's no listing of how many milligrams or what percentage of vitamins and minerals are in there, because it's coming from nature, okay? The only way that they could make regular Shakeology and say that it was replacing a multivitamin, they have to fortify it. I don't know if that's the right word. She kept saying we have to add synthetic vitamins and minerals. So her big thing is if people want Whole30, and they want mainly whole food diets, which a lot of people that she's are attracted to her are doing, and really a lot of people as they're getting more educated on nutrition in general, you're safer going with the vegan because of the vitamins and minerals. So it all has to do with the labeling on the bag. But if you want to be safe and somebody has any concerns, and that's why you have to go back and forth like 20 messages with people. This is where that relationship comes in, and they know you care because you are learning about what their pain points are and where you have to help them. And if you have that knowledge and you're going to guide them toward a vegan, they're going to do so much better when you first start them off if they go that route. Okay, so that was great that you brought that up. And again, just with the with the whole autoimmune problems, I think, our patients, 60 to 70% of them, I feel like, have an autoimmune problem. And they don't even always write things down on their intake form. You start talking to them, and they're listing antibiotic after this surgery and that surgery. It makes me sad a little bit because they have no idea that they keep taking these drugs that's just ripping their gut apart. So not only are you ripping it apart when you're taking it, but now you can't absorb anything. Like you might eat good, but it's not getting absorbed. And that's why people can't lose weight. And you'll like to follow Shay because she just found out she had a thyroid problem. And you can see in her video, she's always fluctuating with her weight and stuff. And she knows all this stuff about nutrition. She even said she did the 3-day, I always want to call it 3-day reset now. 3-day refresh. And she didn't lose a pound. You lose 5 to 10, 12 pounds on a 3-day reset. And so that's when she went to a functional medicine doctor. And I highly encourage you all, if you have any kind of autoimmune problems, and I'm still kind of on the hunt for a good one. I don't have any autoimmune things right now, but I want to find one so I can direct my customers there. That's who we need to be going to. Of course, Dr. Hyman's in Cleveland, but there's 4,000 people on the waiting list, Yeah.
Can I just make a comment to what you just said? I do have autoimmune, and Alyson and Jen will tell you that I have a lot of inflammation. And I went to a doctor called Dr. Silverblatt. He's a regular doctor, but he's all about holistic things. So I had a hysterectomy a year ago, and I hated being on the medicine that I was told I had to be on. I could not stand it. I just turned 47, but I need to be on it. I need to be on something. So I'm on all this natural stuff because I hate taking antibiotics. I haven't taken an Advil in probably a year. because even if I have a headache, I try to get rid of it without taking Advil. So anyway, I'm on natural hormones now. I feel 1,000 times better. He has me on B complex and 2 other things. Alyson has tried helping me like 6 times and I have failed. I don't know where Beth is, but she was me talking. I am now on my 6th day of drinking Shakeology and drinking water and no alcohol and no bread and no carbs, but now I gotta get on the workout thing, baby steps. But this thing that she's talking about, the Alkaline Diet, I just was Googling it real quick. I have books on the Candida diet, and they kind of go
They're all the same.
hand in hand a little bit.
They're all the same.
They're similar. You do need some, anyway. But Dr. Silverblatt's amazing. My stepmom referred me to him. My dad recently passed of cancer. He did not want my dad to go through chemo. He wanted him to change his whole diet. My dad was stubborn, would not sadly do it. Passed away in January. But there is something to be said.
And
When
there's always room.
something.
You have to take medication sometimes, yes.
Did you? I love him. Oh, he's so great.
Oh, yeah, because
So-
he used to work
So
for
he
him,
has me
right?
on iron B complex. He took a 12 or 13 vials.
That's
of,
what attracted me to, like, when Christina and I started communicating, because I could tell right away she had this, background, and she was working for a functional med doc. I mean, does he call himself functional med?
Yes.
Okay. And
Yes,
so,
I was gonna tell you, Beth, I'll be you, and I'm like, you're now, and she's tried helping me, and I will finish the program before she years.
Yes, you will.
not in a year, like in 3 weeks.
No, I'm saying it's been, it's probably been a year, you've been trying to like.
All right. Yeah, we're almost done. Just real quick, you guys can read this all about soy. Soy is another controversial one. It basically really messes with your thyroid, but it's controversial. I say that because Dr. Hyman, who I love and respect, and he's not totally against soy. He's against soy that's made in this country, right? Because of how they process it. So you got to be careful. If you have like organic tofu or something, you're probably okay. But you don't normally want to see that as a main source in a protein shake. But it's very cheaply made here. So if somebody that comes to you and they send you, always get an ingredient list. You don't care about the calories and all that stuff, but get the ingredient list. If soy is the first one, that's the first thing you say back to them. That is not something you want to be eating every day, and it should not be the main protein in your shake. Okay. Another common question is sugar and Shakeology. Again, you can kind of read through that. One of the first books I read was a Sugar Impact Diet. So I'm definitely, even though I still like my sugar a little bit, I try to get the normal amount of sugar out as much as possible, right? So that's why I read ingredient lists. But in Shakeology, this is, if you have people ask you, and then you go to Google it, you're gonna see a lot of people slamming Shakeology because we have 7 grams of sugar in strawberry, and it can go up a little higher in some. Again, that's not really the list that we tend to look at on a nutrition label, because it could say 0 grams, but be 5 artificial sugars, right? So that shake might taste super sweet, and they're gonna wanna eat it every day, but it's gonna make them crave more sugar when you get into artificial sugar. So you can't just look at the grams, and you have to know, like Darren even mentioned it a little bit here, he kinda always laughs it off when he has to get regulated for the sugars that he's using, because he's using them from fruit. And again, I read Sugar Impact Diet, which is kind of like 1 to 2 fruits a day. It's not even like Weight Watchers go eat as much fruit as you want, because fruit has fructose, right? And sugar is glucose. Glucose raises your blood sugar and makes you store fat. So obviously we don't want to use a sugar like that. That's gonna cause us to be a diabetic, right? And you'll see a lot of diabetics eat as much fruit as you want. There's a little bit of glucose in fruit, but a lot of it is fructose. Fructose is not the free food though, because it actually goes to your liver, and then liver is kind of small, and it can't handle a lot at once, and it makes you get fatty liver disease. So we're seeing a lot more people with what's called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
My sister-in-law had it.
Yeah. So it's not. It's just I say that because you don't want to overconsume fruit. And so again, I go with 1 or 2 servings of fruit a day. So to say that, okay, we have this in here, again, we're having it every day. It's a little bit towards our fruit serving because it does have the same kind of sugar that's derived from natural fruit, okay? And this is the other thing, again, why I tell people not to use milk. Now you're adding to the sugar content of your milk, of your shake. when you mix a cup of milk with it, right? And a bunch of other inflammatory things that go on with cow's milk. We won't get into. And she also said rice milk. I don't know if people use rice milk. I know I used to use that, but that also adds to the sugar content. Okay? Okay, honey. Okay, honey. You guys can have this list from JJ. If you look up JJ Virgin, she wrote the Sugar Impact Diet. You can get a list of, I think there's like 100, and she listed them all on one page. But these are the most common ones that you'll see. Sucralose is in tons of shakes. Maltodextrin, that's a little controversial one, so that's not always bad. Dextrose, acesulfame, potassium is in a ton. So, and you'll see it as acesulfame K. So if you just kind of know, those are the ones I would highlight. This one, that one, the ones that we have the stars by, they're commonly found in shakes. And this is a good quote: the food you eat can either be the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. And I think that's what's happening to our country. We're poisoning ourselves. Okay, because other countries don't have all these artificial sweeteners. All right, gluten, I'm not going to do, I was going to ask them, but we already put it up. That's okay. I was going to ask you if you know who knows what gluten is?
It's a protein found in wheat.
Oh, okay, who knew it was a protein, gluten? Because to me, I always think carbs when I think about gluten, right? So it is actually a protein. But what did we say at the beginning? With whey. And what happens after you're 35? We don't break down proteins well, okay? So as we get older, we don't have the enzymes to break stuff down. Like there's a specific enzyme to break down gluten. Now we have more problems. So what was interesting to me, because I always thought, potatoes had gluten, and I was just clueless before I really started looking into this. These are really the only things that technically have gluten in them. Wheat, barley, and rye. Of course, wheat's in everything, but not in vegetables, right? And not in fruits. So that's why, again, you're kind of going back to the alkaline diet. Oats are tricky because if they're not organic, then they probably are contaminated with gluten. Okay? So oats, like I had oats on the Ultimate Reset. Organic still cut oats. But in this country, oats would normally be on the gluten spectrum. Only 1% of people, so people tell you I'm allergic to gluten, they're probably not. They're probably not going to die if they have some gluten. But a lot of the population is gluten intolerant, right? Because we don't break it down right. So they have gluten sensitivity or gluten intolerance. So this is an important question we have to answer. And up until this week, I wasn't really convinced that we were gluten-free. But it is. Shakeology is gluten-free. The way Shay described it, and if you watch some of the videos, she says it a couple times. They have to put that little statement on the bag that says it's made in a factory where it could be contaminated. But she said, there's like maybe 4 floors of a building, and we run out the second floor to make the shake. If somebody from floor 1 comes up to floor 3 with the lab coat on that had gluten downstairs or peanuts or shellfish, that's what they're calling made in a facility that could be contaminated. What's the likelihood that somebody's going to have a gluten reaction? It's not very high. So most people have no problem with it, and we do call it gluten-free. If they can't advertise it and put it on the bag like that, because we have 70 ingredients, and they have to pay to get that label on 70 ingredients. And I never knew that before. Same thing with organic. People already complain for what we're paying, right? So does it matter if we're going across the world, like you saw Darren do, to go to a farm to check the soil, to get a product that's made with no pesticides or anything? We know it's non-GMO. We know it's organic, because he'll stop using a farm if they don't meet his standards. So it all goes back to just believing in this company and the integrity of the people that work there. So be confident that you're saying you'll be okay on this, unless they're celiac and they really don't want to try. But some celiacs are fine on Shakeology, both regular and vegan. Okay? This is a good statement, and again, you'll have access to this, and that just basically describes everything I said. So they follow these good manufacturing practices with the ventilation system and everything. but if there is some, million chance that there could be contamination. But again, before I knew what gluten was, I looked on the back of the bag and I was like, well, that seems like it's gluten. That doesn't have gluten. Like quinoa doesn't have gluten in it. But there's quinoa in Shakeology. So you got to know what gluten is. Yeah.
If you have somebody who's celiac, do you like recommend that they maybe put like a little bit underneath their tongue or something?
No, I wouldn't be that concentrated. I'd probably do like a third of a scoop
Okay,
and have them check with their doctor.
okay.
But not that the doctor, I don't say that very much because I don't trust many doctors.
Yeah.
Unless have them check with their functional medicine doctor.
Is celiac similar to Crohn's then?
No.
No, different story.
Yes. Crohn's is basically like a lot of like digestive problems, leaky gut, stuff like that. That's different than celiac. Celiac, you would die if you had gluten.
It's celiac's autoimmune
Uh-huh.
to the gluten. So yeah, it's a much
It's
more
gonna attack your
serious-
body.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So what do you recommend for somebody that does have Crohn's then?
Crohn's, I would definitely want them on this.
You would want them on
Vegan.
it, the vegan. You know what, I've been writing a lot of questions down, so I'm just gonna throw another one out there. Why would I even suggest somebody not do vegan
Because a lot of
at this
people,
point?
because a lot of people still want the whey, and the taste is a little different.
So just the taste, so you're saying, what you're really saying is vegan is.
The way I'm going with my diet, yes. And if I'm talking to someone who has a crap diet, they're gonna go on regular. Because they're not gonna stay on vegan Shakeology right off the bat. Because their taste buds, their track, yeah. Yeah, if they're eating the sad diet, and you are starting from square one, I have no problem starting on a regular. I mean, I drink regular ones, so I think it's good to mix the protein source a little bit. I have no problem with lactose. But on a daily basis, you have somebody that's talking about Whole30 or Alkaline Diet, or autoimmune problems, or joint inflammation, migraine headaches, that's vegan, for sure. You just direct them right there. Yep. And make it taste good, right? It's all about the recipes, right? Missy, you use vegan. Missy used vegan and strawberry bars, I think.
I don't know if
Okay.
anybody else finds adding a half a banana to your shake sweetens it so much. Like, I notice if I run out of bananas, like it just, you taste the difference. So like with the vegan, like adding a half a banana,
So what do you, to the chocolate or the strawberry?
I add it to cafe latte too.
Yeah, Carol likes that.
Yeah.
Put a banana in
Yeah.
See, now I'm not big on banana because I still think about the glycemic index,
Yeah,
but it's actually alkaline. It's alkaline. So
That's
they
just
actually
like
recommend that.
telling people when they're first starting, if you add a half a banana, it helps them get used to that flavor too. Like maybe after you drink it for a while, you don't need that, but
Right, and some people think the shakes are too sweet. It depends where
Okay,
they're starting. It depends what their sugar addiction is. It depends, artificial sweeteners are like 300 times more sweet than regular sugar. And what was everybody drinking before? Diet Coke.
yeah.
So they're gonna want something sweet, but people that already have a decent diet, and I get a lot of those people that come to me, they don't want the sweet.
Right.
They're telling me, I don't eat sugar in my diet, and then I find out what they're eating. I'm like, yeah, you have sugar in your diet. You'll be okay with 5 grams of Shakeology. Okay, this is just again, just for your reference, because this is, again, these are the ingredients I look at, and I'd be like, those seem like they have gluten in it. But this is really interesting to me, because I just learned this about wild rice too, why wild rice is better than regular rice and brown rice. So when you're asked about the grasses, Shakeology formulations do not contain grass seeds. I still need a little lesson on what that means, but the grass is found in Shakeology, so barley grass, wheatgrass, camu, and oat are harvested prior to the seed or the grain developing. So they're almost grain-free. Okay, and that's another whole autoimmune disaster, grains, right? Anybody with migraines, I say get off the grains, not gluten, get off all grains. So when you see the way that Shakeology puts this grass in, because Shay was saying wheatgrass is like $10 a bag. People are putting those in those homemade shakes. That's in Shakeology, and it doesn't even have grain because the way that they take the seed out, the grass seed. That's our lesson there. Okay.
All right, so we have talked about a lot, and we're actually running a little long on time, but hopefully you guys are okay. This is valuable information. We'll get to the dance workout in just a few minutes. But what you're going to hear a lot of people say is, I like to eat my food, right? So that's one common objection that will come back. And the other concern is this powder really whole food. And so the question is can you say when you're sharing Shakeology that this is whole food? We would tell you, yes, you can. Shay Stanford, one of the people we've mentioned here, did an experiment where she left Shakeology on the counter with water, and it did grow mold left out in time. Which, like, did everybody hear about the McDonald's Happy Meal thing that never ever did? Like, so Shakeology, she would say, is whole food because it will mold when left out, unlike the Happy Meals that we feed our kids. By definition, raw food is generally defined as uncooked plant foods. That's what you are finding, and that's what you are getting in Shakeology. You saw the videos they truck across the world to bring back the foods in their most natural state, and basically no chemicals, no pesticides, or other impure methods. Utmost care to guarantee they are untainted. Now, there's those 70 ingredients all have to be dried differently. The thing that is important there is that they are dried, some in the sun, some in the air, always less than 115 degrees. Some are freeze-dried, but not heated over to that 115 degrees, which many companies do, and they're not irradiated.
And they said, I saw this a couple times, Beachbody was 5 months late coming out with strawberry vegan because they could not get them to dry right. So they don't compromise the quality. They kind of figure out how to make it work, or they don't use that ingredient. And they do change ingredients. Like you saw, we just have 2 new ingredients added, and they'll take ingredients out too.
So the important thing I think that you could say to someone who says, I follow the Whole30 diet, it would be another reason that you would maybe put them into the vegan blend of Shakeology first, because the vegan blends are, it had to do with the vitamins.
No synthetics.
No synthetic vitamins added. That's why they can't have it on the label, because you cannot be sure in this bunch of carrots or this bunch of carrots the exact amount of vitamins. So they are key nutrients that come from whole foods, no vitamins or mineral isolates, and a whole food ingredients. Okay, hundreds of phytochemicals and nutritional cofactors. Okay, this is you.
Okay. Yeah, I thought we just all right, so this is, no, I can go over it real quick. Same, I kind of already talked about this, right? The way that they're bringing them back here, they're from organic and non-GMO fields. So if somebody says to you, why don't they have that label? Because it will cost you $5 more a shake if we put that on there. But just trust that, and again, there's our statement from Beachbody that I was able to find. She has a great blog. She compares, if you ever do it, this is a great free group to do, but we did all our own research to compare shakes, and we made a grid and everything, like I do Advocate and I do Arbonne. She basically takes one-on-one every shake in her blog. Isogenics and Herbalife and all that.
Really quick, we'll close basically with the cost subject, or what we like to say now is how you're going to share value. Because if people see value, then there isn't really a question of cost when you understand this. As coaches sharing this, make sure you just build your relationships, get to know the people, what their goals are, where they struggle. What would you spend on a healthy meal? We talked about that already if you go out to eat. She discourages, this is Shay Stanford, discourages comparing like Shakeology to a Starbucks coffee, because they can't even compare the nutritional value that you're getting there. So really compare apples to apples when people are coming at you with that. You make sure that you use things like, this is what I say all the time, literally, you heard Craig say it earlier. When I signed up to coach, he's like, that's fine, but don't you drink that Shakeology, it's too expensive. And so, but that's a lack of knowledge, right? And that's, so you say, oh, my husband felt that same way. Now he's mad if it's late because he knows how he feels, right? Or if our children maybe had too much that month and they run out, which happens sometimes. So relate to them, feel, felt, found, and help them up front. Yes, this is an investment. And you know what? We had to modify our grocery budget because it's our meal. And so you just help them right up front understand, yep, I acknowledge what you're saying. It is an investment. Look, we are on a limited budget too. It's your priorities. How important is your health? And hopefully after today you feel a little more empowered. If your health is not worth $4.20 a day, you aren't going to help these people. honestly, the more research we did, I almost felt like I feel bad now that I didn't do my job enough for anybody I let fall off Shakeology who used an excuse, you know, because it really is that important. So, but again, at the beginning, keep it simple, you guys, when you're sharing this stuff. Add value. You can keep it as simple as this is the most nutritional thing you'll have all day. You can literally shake it and go. And as a mom with 4 kids, I often just shake it and go. And if the rest of my day isn't great, it was convenient, it was fast, and I did something good for myself for that day. So it's convenient and easy to use. It's as nutrient dense as 5 plates of salad. I mean, who would eat that, right? So it's just a way.
You will on the recycling. Be prepared, right, Wendy?
But then you will also get that question of, is it a meal replacement? It's only 160 calories. So I think what's important to share there is, yeah, it is. But if you don't need to lose weight, if you need to, maybe you need to gain weight. If you have cancer and you actually need calories, like you should encourage people, can safely encourage people to beef it up. Add healthy fats. You add an extra serving or 2 or 3 of vegetables, a scoop of peanut butter. You know, you can make it more to sustain you for a little bit longer. It is that nutrient dense that it is a meal at 160 calories. Calories are not created equal.
Because people will say that, like, it's only 160 calories, how
Right.
is that a meal? Well, you're getting enough nutrients, you could literally have that
Yeah.
3 times a day and get the nutrients you need
Right.
for the day by not adding anything. Will you maybe be a little hungry because it's only 160 calories? Yeah, but you're not starving your body of nutrients.
Which leads to cravings. See, there's so much more to talk about. But basically, you guys, we are living in a nutrient deficient world. And when you are nutrient deficient, you are 80% more likely to suffer disease. Huge. And nutrition is 80% of the equation for any goal you have to be healthy. This is where we need to be sharing with passion and stressing the importance of your nutrition. Why would you focus your energy on exercise? That's only going to get you 20%. You're not going to get the results you want to be healthier overall.
Coming from a PT.
Right. I think we talked about this basically already. If you're going to compare, just know what you're comparing. Don't compare a shake to a Starbucks drink. Educate yourself. We did a team cup in February where we literally just...
Oh,
yes, right. Look at the ingredients.
Have them send this to you. And they're going to send you this.
Right.
And then you're going to say, no, I don't want to see that.
Right.
Send me this. And then they'll send you 3 other things before they send it to you. But
I think that's it. You guys be passionate to share. Do you have any questions?
sorry we went long.
Yeah, sorry, but you guys, this was really good.
All right, we're going to move.
We're going to do a quick, thank you. I want to take a big picture before we put, well actually,